I'm going to talk to you guys about how I was able to escape 40 years in a cubicle prison. I know it might sound a little bit exaggerated, but yes, I was sentencing myself to 40 years in imprisonment in a cubicle. As you know the stats, in America, about 78% of people hate their jobs, and I was definitely one of them, and I did not even do it for more than 2 months. If you are like me, growing up, you are told what to do, and that is, go to school, learn hard, and get yourself a great job and work until the age of 65 so you can retire and finally get to enjoy your life. I bought into that dream just like all of you guys. I was nothing special. But along the way, I came across somebody who changed my life forever. So let me share my journey with you guys, and hopefully it resonates with some of you guys or inspires some of you guys to think differently. I've never really sat down and thought about my life as far as like the path that I'm taking. Is that the path that I want to take, or is it the path that I'm taking because other people expect me to take it? And I was programmed. Society programs us to be, employees and workers. Unless you're coming from a family where the parents, kind of guide you towards being independent and whatnot. On the average, we are programmed to go to school, and school programs us to be great workers, right? I wish I could stay here and say that I hated school like Gary V and Richard Branson, but that was not the case at all. I was a great student. I had amazing grades. I was an A student. I did everything by the book, and I am against authority in a way because my father was extremely strict on me, and I kind of got fed up with that. So somebody telling me what to do all the time was not something I enjoyed. Nonetheless, I knew that it was necessary to be a great employee. So as a matter of fact, I was in the most disciplined environment, and that was the Navy. The Navy was well structured, and you did not really have a say. You take orders. And that really did help me though to be humble, and because I remember when I joined the Navy, I had a little chip on my shoulder because of my father was extremely strict, and going there, I had to face myself, and I did have a lot of insecurities with regards to people telling me what to do and all that. But I was able to work around it, and I was educated on how to work with people and just do what you are told to do. And in the Navy, I learned how to think for myself in a way, because you'll be given orders, and I know these orders are stupid, but I still have to do it. What I used to do was to email the person that you really want me to do this, right? To have it to back myself up, and then I go ahead and do it because that's an order. And that's exactly the same thing that happens in the corporate environment. And I'm gonna get into that. So I got out of the Navy, and thankfully I did not have to put myself in student loans debt. And that's part of the reason why I joined the Navy. It's two reasons why I joined the Navy. One was my father was extremely strict, and I did not want to live there anymore. And then secondly, I did not want to pay student loans. So I joined the Navy to do 4 years so they can pay for my school and also pay me while I'm in school. And taking that 4 years to go to the Navy has to be the best decision that I've ever made in my life, because I did not jump right into college because I was young and I really did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew I was great with numbers, so I knew it was going to be something in the banking, accounting sector, but I was not really sure. I didn't know myself very well. So joining the Navy and being there for 4 years gave me like clarity. And when I came out, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. As a matter of fact, when I came out, my father wanted me to be a nurse because your parents really love you and they just want to protect you and guide you towards the safest path. But most of the time, that is the wrong path, right? My father wanted me to be a nurse because he knows a friend who is a nurse and is doing well, like the average life. That's what he wanted for me. But I knew that I was good with numbers. I knew what I wanted, and coming back from the Navy and making my own money gave me some sort of say. In a very respectful way, I chose to become an accountant. And I spent 4 years doing my undergrad and my master's in accounting. And during this time, I met a guy who changed my mindset forever. So all this while, I enjoyed doing schoolwork. It was not hard for me. It was not hard for me at all. Never stayed up at night to really study. School came to me easily, and I was just doing well. So being in school was not a burden for me at all. However, never did I ever pick up a book on my own to read. Everything I was reading was given to me by the school, doing my schoolwork, And I was, just like most of the people in today's world, the average person does not even read a book a year on their own. So when I moved to Manhattan, I came across this guy who became a very good friend of mine. I would say my best friend at the time, really, because we used to work out 5 times a week together. And he was learning how to work out from me, and I was learning how to build wealth from him. So this guy really changed my mindset. Being in the right circle and hanging with the right people could change your life. So this guy started asking me, what do I want to do? And I told him that I've never even really thought of this, but when he asked me that, I was forced to kind of answer that. I told him that I want to work in a corporate environment for 10 to 15 years, save money, and then build a gym in Ghana. Because deep down, I knew that I did not want to be in a corporate environment for that long. Most people hate working for other people, and I was certainly one of them, because you cannot sell your time to be rich. In order to be rich, you can sell your time and learn how to invest on the side, then you can be rich. But selling your time to get rich just off that, even if you're a doctor, it's not going to happen. Most of the rich doctors open their own practice, or they end up investing some of their money. When my friends started asking me these questions, I started thinking back to my childhood. I was an entrepreneur as a child. I did a lot of stuff. I used to crack stones and sell. I used to cut people's grass and charge them for it. I was doing a lot of stuff to earn myself money when I was in Ghana. But when I moved to the States being so the way it was, my father did not feel like it was a safe environment for me, because I grew up in the Bronx. So I was kind of like, my father was really strict on me, and my entrepreneur dream died down. When my friend started asking me these questions, I started thinking about my life. I started thinking about what I could do on my own. And that's when I got this gym idea. And my friend told me that I do not have to work for 15 years before I can do this. And I said, what do you mean? So what he did was he suggested 4 books to me. He suggested The Hard Thing About Hard Things, Start With Why, From Good to Great, and Building a Brand. So he suggested these 4 books to me, and after I read it, especially Start With Why, my whole paradigm was altered. I started seeing the world differently. So I went ahead and read 7 books in that year, reading and listening to audiobooks. And on my journey of reading on my own for the first time, and all this while I was in college. So I was doing my schoolwork. I was paying more attention on what I was doing on the side, which is reading and educating myself. I taught myself how to invest in the stock market. I learned a lot about psychology. I learned a lot about personal development. And I came across some amazing books that changed my life forever. So since my whole mindset was changed because of this friend asking me these questions, luckily I got to taste how the corporate environment was. So during my last year in my undergrad, I interned for KPMG. KPMG is like the big 4 accounting firms in the world, and they only hire the best of the best. When I got there, it was only 2 black people in there, and I was one of them. My supervisor was nice to me in the beginning, but she started to feel insecure. I don't know why, but she started to feel insecure, and she was really mean towards me. So my destiny was in her hands, and her evaluation of me was not reflecting the work I was doing. It started to feel weird, and I hated, like, when you are sitting there and you are not doing anything, you still have to act like you are doing something. You go to stupid meetings for hours and just sit there, though you don't want to be there and you have no choice. So that 3 months of interning gave me a whole overview of how my life is going to look like if I'm to work here for 40 years. And that was going to be torturous. During this time, I was already building my house. I had invested in the pineapple farm. I did some calculations, and I knew I was going to get rich from this pineapple farm because the pineapples multiply every year. I did the calculation, and within like 6 years, I was going to be a millionaire. So I used to tell my friends that I was going to be a millionaire by the age of 30. And I did become a millionaire in a different way. So during my internship, what I realized was they were paying us overtime to get us hooked. You know, salary is what they give to you, is a drug that they give to you for you to forget your dreams, right? They were giving us overtime, and I did make a lot of money during that time. Right? I think I ended up making like $30,000 in 2 months and a half, which was pretty good. But I asked a lot of questions. So the people who actually worked there, I was asking them. They were working the same hours as us, but they were not paying them overtime. They were not paying them overtime, and we were starting off with $65,000 a year. Sometimes these people work 100 hours a week, and you have no choice. And they hated their jobs. I could tell it from their faces, but they felt like they had no option. I knew that I had an option, and I was working towards something. So I am not against working for somebody, but you must have your own goal and have an exit plan, because that's what I did. Luckily, I only put myself in a cubicle for 2.5 months in interning and 2 months of actual work before I blew up big time in the stock market. The stock market changed my life forever. So if you're an employee and you want to escape, you don't have to go cold turkey and leave your job. What you can do is start learning how to invest in other stuff while you're on your job if you don't like it. So you can finally make your transition to being your own boss. There is nothing like being your own boss. It's been 3 years since I have not received a paycheck from anybody. Nobody is telling me what to do in these 3 years, and I hope to continue that. If I'm to work for somebody, I need a percentage. I want you to ask yourself, how many people do you know who got rich off just their salary? You can get rich from your salary by learning how to invest, but you cannot get rich from your salary. But you can definitely get rich from your business. That's the message I have here. I realized that being a cubicle was not what I want to do. So I ended up freeing myself. Luckily, I had a lucky break. In 1 year, I was able to make more than how much I was going to be able to save in 20 years. I knew it was time for me to move on. And even that, being an entrepreneur is not easy, but it is fulfilling, right? Doing hard things, the unknown. We watch movies and we don't want our friends to tell us what's going to happen next. That's what we are built for. Humans are supposed to deal with uncertainties. But if you think that sitting in a cubicle is safe, then go back and think about COVID, right? How many people lost their jobs during COVID? These corporations do not care about you. When the time comes for you to go, they will let you go just like that. This concludes the message that I wanted to share with you guys. So until next time, my friends, be legendary. Peace.